Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. I want to talk about how to improve your local SEO ranking so you can get more phone calls, website clicks, and hopefully customers too. So this image that I'm showing here, this is a before and after for one of my clients that I work with. Back on January 16th, the map was basically all red for them. They were not getting many phone calls and website clicks for this one particular keyword. Now today in March, the map is a lot greener. It's the same radius that we're tracking, and I can see that they're getting more phone calls and website clicks and customers too. So hopefully this video will help you do the same. So just to start, these tips, they're not going to just be instantaneous fixes for your business. So just come with that and depending on, if you're a new business or if you're established, it's going to vary, but hopefully these tips will help grow your business. So to start, if possible, you should get a physical business address. Don't rely on just being a service area only. So I get leads throughout the month of local businesses looking for my help. The first thing I always check to see is that are you a service area business or a physical business that has a business address. From my experience, you will rank better, get faster results, and maintain those results if you have a physical address. I think Google looks at that as more credible, especially if you're in a big metro like Chicago, LA, Boston, New York, etc. If you're a service area business, I feel like it's going to be very difficult to get into that market. Invest in your business. I know it's a cost, but it's going to pay off faster and maintain those rankings. Every client that I have, I push the same thing. Get a physical business address. It makes such a huge difference. Next, update your address on your website. So once you get that physical address, put it into your footer. Establish that again. Let Google know and other search engines too that this is where your business is located. Here's the address. Next, update your address on Bing Maps and Apple Maps. So well, I notice a lot of times that people forget or even to establish Bing Maps, or they might have an incorrect address because maybe they moved. Make sure whatever is listed on Google is the same on Bing. And then Apple will only accept a business that has a physical address. You can't be a at-home service area business. You have to have a physical address. So if you're looking for, again, more ways to get phone calls, again, Apple Maps could be a great exposure. And I also really believe that Google looks at Bing and Apple just as another credible source to say, yep, this is a local business. This gives us more credibility and confidence to show them higher in our own search results. Finally, embed your Google My Business map directly in your footer. I think this is a really helpful signal for users, but also for Google too, to know that, yep, this is a local business. Here's their map. How to improve the local SEO rankings in Google My Business directly. So to start, run multiple local Falcon scans or any other tool that does heat map scans for Google My Business for different keywords and radius targets. You want to create that baseline. I'm going to talk about aggregate ranking later on in this presentation, but you want to create that baseline. So for example, if you're an HVAC company and you're doing AC repair and AC installation, AC maintenance, and AC tune-ups, you want to just run those keyword scans, let's say in like a 10-mile radius, and get the baseline. Okay, here's my share of local voice. Got it. Next, within Local Falcon, review the top competitors' ranking and then look for gaps. Gaps could be things that are different from your profile and them. So, for example, maybe they all have a local area phone number and you don't. Maybe you have a toll free. Maybe they have more secondary categories than you. Maybe they're getting more reviews more often. Maybe they are posting updates, etc. Look for what those gaps are and look for ways that you can make changes to your Google My Business account to get more competitive. You can't just sit back, you have to make changes. Next, update your description. So, what I mean by that is that you have up to, I think it's like 750 characters to work with. So be specific in your description. Talk about how your headquarters is in this location and you service these towns and cities nearby. This is a small ranking signal for Google. So get very specific. So for example, my business is in upstate New York. I can say things like it's in Ballston Spa and it's service, and I can meet with clients in Saratoga Springs, Clifton Park, Glens Falls, Albany, etc. These are all how I use it. And I recommend the same thing for any local business to get specific into the neighborhoods. Add photos of the team. So if you're, let's say, a mover and you are constantly on the go and doing projects, just take photos of the team working and then post them to your Google My Business account. I think this is an indirect ranking signal because I believe that users will see photos, they'll kind of go through. It's dwell time. I believe that's a ranking signal that Google uses. It also gives more credibility too. If it's just AI stock photography, etc., it could lead to less phone calls. So the authentic photos of the team, I think, really can give you that extra boost to get that phone call. Update your service areas up to 20 locations. So I mentioned, I see this a lot when I onboard local SEO clients. They might say, I service Brooklyn and I service Queens. And that is extremely vague because both places are massive and there's so many millions of people that live in both of those boroughs. Be specific. So if you're in Brooklyn, you could say like we do Sheepshead Bay or we do Prospect Park instead of just simply saying we do Brooklyn. Obviously, you could say we'll kind of travel anywhere, but realistically, though, people in Brooklyn might only care about like a mile or 2 mile distance, a radius around where they live. Same thing probably for your business too. It wouldn't be financially making sense to drive out all throughout the boroughs. You probably only want to focus on a very specific area so you can do multiple projects in one day. Create question and answer content. So simply, if you're like, let's say a locksmith, you might get questions all the time, like, do you do key fob replacement? Are you emergency locksmith? Do you do car locksmith, etc.? Ask those questions to answer them directly in Google My Business. Next, create updates. Share anything that your team is doing. Again, it's going to be authentic. Maybe it might influence a potential phone call as well. And then finally, keep running local Falcon scans. Just see how your rankings are improving. I am going to talk about aggregate ranking, but just keep running scans maybe every couple of days. See if your share of local voice is starting to improve for your keywords. Next, I talk about directories all the time. So when I onboard new clients, they usually are hesitant to get on local directories because, and it makes sense. They want to make sure that this is a good investment. Will they get more phone calls, website clicks? It's very hard for me to justify that. But what I do recommend is that you want to give Google signals that you are a local business. Okay, now, like, let's say for me, in the upstate New York region. I'm on albany.com, saratoga.com. I'm trying to get on more local chamber of commerces. I'm trying to build out that backlink profile that's very specific to my area. But then also what I do for my business, but also for my clients that are interested in this, is that you want to negotiate with these websites to get additional marketing exposure. So don't just only rely on Google Map rankings and then phone calls. Look to talk to your audience directly and then look for direct or referral or social or any other type of channel that can bring in business to you. So do get on newsletters, social media posts. Maybe you have an opportunity to give a one-time deal to members who are also part of that community. Maybe do direct mailers. You can even have like a QR code or something with a specific UTM so you can track that within GA4 and more. So I talk about this all the time. You just want to diversify your portfolio. So if we're talking about Google rankings, and that's really important, but just constantly try to build relationships with different networks and build out your exposure. Brand search can also help too, which might indirectly help your non-brand rankings. So example of aggregate ranking. So here's the keyword it's mover Smyrna GA. That's actually the example in the very beginning of the map left and right. But I do aggregate ranking. So what I do is I every time I run a local Falcon scan, I pull their share of local voice number, I put it into Excel and I mark it as the date, and then I take the average of the month and then I do a month over month quick look difference. So I can see over here back in December, they had a 17.26 percentage. Then January it really dropped off to 5.78. That was bad. February, we had a slight improvement at 21.16, but that's the average rank. We actually had better rankings throughout the month. And then March, now we're at 34.22. So we've improved at 13%. You can see that's the image down there, 34.22. And then the aggregate ranking. So this is why I like aggregate ranking, because I'm taking each of these dots. So they're the red line down here at the very bottom, but I'm taking each of these dots, taking the average, and then looking to see how we're improving month over month. And even if there's no growth necessarily month over month, if we've maintained our ranking, especially from where we started to where we are now, that's still a win because I can count on that to bring in more phone calls and website clicks and customers for my client. Of course, there's many more keywords than just this one, but I really like this example because this is sort of what I do. I looked at their rankings. I looked at the competitors. I changed their Google My Business account. I kept running scans. I noticed a big drop, so I had to change my strategy. And then in February now into March, they have their best rankings for this keyword when it's attributing to more phone calls and customers for them. So anyway, just in a nutshell, I use Local Falcon to run the heat map scan. I find that to be the the clearest way for me to see if my client's going to have a better month or not, because if the rankings are improving, then a law of averages usually mean then you're going to get more phone calls and website clicks and customers. But anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Happy to address them over email, or you can leave them right in the comment section. Anyway, thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next one.